It's 9 o'clock and I will call this meeting to order. Thank you all for being here today. If you don't want to stand, there are some seats out in the hall. We'd be glad to call you in, but you're welcome to stand if you like. So, Madam Clerk, has the meeting been advertised and do we have a quorum present?
Yes.
Okay, and I will ask at this time if you would please silence your cell phones. And Magistrate Cullen will be joining us here in a little bit via video teleconferencing. I can say it, Jamie. So he will be popping up on the screen here in just a little bit.
And Judge, the public needs to know that it was properly advertised that he will be under a KRS, that he can vote
Yes.
yes.
Yes, under KRS 61.826. Thank you, Magistrate. Magistrate Sleeper, would you give our invocation this morning, please?
Certainly. Let us pray. All wise and loving Father, we thank you for the abundant blessings and the strength to fulfill our calling. Thank you for the freedoms that we enjoy, and thank you for those who have sacrificed so much for us to keep us free. For those servicemen and women, Lord, who faithfully serve to preserve and maintain our liberty. And for those first responders, Lord, who served to keep us safe and secure. Lord, grant us wisdom to govern amid conflicting interests and issues, and give us a sense of the true needs of our people and to serve them in justice and righteousness. And Lord, enable us to work together in harmony even though there may be some honest disagreements. Lord, we pray for the agenda set before us today, and help us to do what would please you and what would be in the best benefit and interest of those who live and work in and around our beloved Boyle County. In the name of the blessed name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Magistrate Sleeper. If you all will stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and you may be seated. First on our agenda is we will approve the bills, and that is Miss Elena.
In your packets, you have bills totaling $1,215,001.61. We're going to add on the jail tracker bill, so that's Interact Public Safety bill, and that is going to be for $16,250. We're also going to add on our WEX fuel bill. That is for $12,711. That brings you to a grand total of $1,243,962.61.
Move we pay the bills as presented.
Okay, second. Motion by Magistrate Gay, a second by Magistrate Bodner. Is there any discussion on the bills? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, Elena.
Thank you.
Okay, next we will approve our budget transfers.
I have no budget transfers at this time.
Okay, we will approve our cash transfers.
Cash transfers, I have totaling $617,250. I'm moving $300,000 between general to the Public Works Fund, $150,000 from general to EMS, $150,000 from general to joint jail, and $17,250 from the restricted jail fund to the joint jail fund.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Magistrate Bodner, a second by Magistrate Sleeper. Is there any discussion on the cash transfers? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, Darlene.
I also wanted to point out very quickly that I put the monthly settlement of the bank accounts, and then I also included an accounts payable detail, or actually it's a summary of all the checks for last month, if this is something that you want us to continue to see.
I like that.
Do you like that
I
one?
do like that.
The detailed one is over 30 pages, so I just did the summary because the other
Very good.
information that you receive should cover whatever's not on here, so.
Thank you for protecting our Portland forests.
I'm trying.
Thank you, Darlene. That's a very nice addition to the packet.
I like that.
Okay, under old business, we have the Bonta Lane Zone change, and this will be our second reading, and I believe Michaela's here. So there, Michaela, there you are. Do you want to speak to this, or you just want us to go ahead and, okay.
All right, this is our second reading. Back on April the 26th of 23, the Planning and Zoning Commission, based on their findings, recommended that the 1.732 acres of land of Joyce Kidd located at 1765 Bonta Lane Junction be amended. Her change from being zoned agricultural, which is AG, to single-family residential, which is R1A. They seek to approve this.
Make a motion, we approve the second reading of ordinance 920.22.
Okay. Your second?
Second.
Okay. I have a motion to approve ordinance number 920.22, and I have a second by Magistrate Bodner, or that's by Magistrate Gaddis, a second by Magistrate Bodner. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Second reading is approved. Michaela, did you have something else today?
The comp plan discussion at the end of fiscal.
Oh, at the end of the, okay, all right, you scared me with that.
I'll go sit down.
I don't know what you, okay. No, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, next we have 3 community members that would like to speak to the court with concerns that they have with animal control and or Humane Society, and I've allowed them about 5 minutes apiece to speak to you all. So we will start with Jennifer Gaddis.
I'm going to read the email that I sent to the magistrates just after a couple of the issues that we had. So I'll read that, and then I'll just say a couple other things. It said, "Good morning. I would like to file an official complaint against animal control in Boyle County. This afternoon, my husband and I were traveling home from a doctor's appointment and noticed a cat lying in the road near the end of Mahler Road. It appears that if it had been hit, but we noticed some movement in the tail and some breathing in the chest area, so we pulled over to check on it. Once we pulled over, the cat got up and drug its back end across the road near the exit of the John Deere store where it collapsed. At this time, I contacted Animal Control and spoke with a woman who stated that their animal control man was already out, and if the cat wasn't already dead, it probably would be by the time they got there. That was an exact quote of what she stated. We waited there for a while, and I asked my sister-in-law, Jennifer Bodner, who works at Lafayette Engineering, if they could bring down a box so we could try to get the cat off the hot pavement, since it appeared to be suffering significantly. A bystander stopped by and offered her assistance. She stated that she used to work for the Humane Society. I told her I had contacted Animal Control to help, and she stated that I shouldn't waste my time because they won't do anything. With her assistance, my husband and my sister-in-law, we safely got the cat into the box and took it to the Animal Shelter Humane Society. When we pulled up, the gate was locked, but there was a lady out front playing with the dog. My husband got out of the car and went over to ask her for help with the cat. In the meantime, while the cat was suffering in the back, she went over to find the leash for the dog, slowly walked in the building, and never returned outside. The gate was opened, and another lady ran out frantically, stating that they couldn't do anything with the cat and they did not have resources. My husband actually, when I say ran out, she was frantic. We actually thought something was wrong with her because she was waving her hands in the air and saying that we have no resources, we can't take this cat. The person, Carrie Kai, actually ran up to her car, barely allowing us time to get out. She stated that they didn't have anyone certified to put the cat down and couldn't do anything with it. She offered zero solutions in the situation.
My husband then asked the lady if they contracted with Town and Country Veterinarian Services, to which she replied yes. Then we asked if we could take the vet over to have the cat looked at. All while this was happening, the lady with animal control was watching from behind the glass door in the front and never came back outside, along with the dog that she never put up. So we as citizens took the cat over to the vet and waited until they confirmed that it was supposed to be there and eventually left. This is the second time we've had issues with animal control. The first was on May 9th after my daughter's softball game. As we were cleaning the concessions, my daughter noticed the cat limping with an injury to its right front leg. As we got closer, the cat crawled in her lap and laid down. Its front leg was large and swollen, and the cat was severely malnourished and matted. I contacted dispatch and asked for animal control. A young man came out that evening and stated that animal control does not have funds for cats. They only have funds for dogs that look adoptable. We felt very uncomfortable leaving the cat at the ball field, considering it was visibly ill and there would be school children on the property the next day. We were given the option of us taking it home or leaving it at the ball field. We took the cat home that evening and I made a Facebook post asking for help. Thankfully, we kept the cat in our garage away from our own animals because it tested positive for feline leukemia. I'm appalled at the way that animal control speaks to our community, and I'm saddened that there seems to be a consensus in our community that we should not waste our time calling because animal control won't do anything. The lack of any kind of effort shown on their part is somewhat ridiculous. I say that because the woman standing behind the glass door today, the day that it happened, did nothing but watch the whole situation play out in the parking lot. I spoke to my husband about all of this after the incident today and asked him, since he works in Mercer County in law enforcement, how they handle these situations over there. He stated they have a very reliable man who comes out every time someone calls, no matter what type of animal or situation, and always offers assistance. He stated their county takes animals to Town and Country in Boyle County for vetting, and in after-hours situations, their animal control will take the animals to Lexington for emergency service. I'm not sure why we can't have the same kindness shown to our animals that are sick or injured in Boyle County, but as a citizen, it's very concerning. So that was my email, and I just added that my concerns are I've had 2 very recent interactions with sick and injured animals, and no one, the Humane Society nor Animal Control, offered any solutions or assistance with them. We were told that animal control was to take all sick and injured animals after the first incident. However, during the second incident, both agencies refused to take the dying cat. So if both agencies are going to continue to refuse to take animals, where are we supposed to look for these services? And what exactly are the taxpayers of Boyle County paying this staff to do? Yeah. Thank you.
Y'all have any questions for Jennifer?
No questions, just comments. I think, when we see something that's not working, I don't care if it's been done for years and years the same way, if it's not working now, which I felt really upset that these 2 cats, which some people will think a minor thing about, but I still, if we are animal control and we're supposed to do something with all injured animals, then we have to address it. And we've been addressing it. And I think we should have to continue, and we have to make something work. Find a solution and not just keep pushing it down the road. We've got to do something.
And in that first situation, that cat was actually taken by rescue and is now in a home doing well, and the vetting services, we took donations for those things, but it seems like our rescues are kind of the boots on the ground individuals that are doing this, but are lacking in funds to do it, and we just don't have. We were given 0 options, and we actually, during the first incident, weren't the only couple there. There was another couple there that witnessed all of that as well. So we just weren't given any solutions. It was, we do not have funding for cats, and we only have funding for adoptable looking dogs. So I guess if you weren't cute and cuddly, you don't get any services of dogs either. So we just weren't given any other options. That was it. The cat was dying in the back. The lady from the Humane Society came out running to the car, waving her arms, and the animal control lady never came out of the door. Like, she never came out to offer any kind of assistance. She went in and that was it. So if we don't know where else to go, if the Humane Society or Animal Control is not going to take the cats that are dying, then where are we supposed to go?
You mentioned both. The first phone call was to the Humane Society, correct?
The first phone call we made was to dispatch, and animal control came out for that first situation. The second situation, we called animal control directly.
Okay, now the staff member who came out was our employee or was the Humane Society employee?
The staff member that my husband, the gates were locked. It was about 4 minutes till 1.
They shouldn't have been locked for 4 minutes.
Well, they were locked, and so we had to go ask the lady who was playing with the dog, which was animal control, if she would let us in because we were the ones that called about the cat. So that's when she went over and said she was going to put the dog up and come back out, and she went in and then just kept the dog beside her through the glass door over to the left. The lady that came running out was from the Humane Society. She was the one that came out waving her arms saying, we have no resources for this cat. We can't take the cat.
The fundamental issue, you have an injured animal.
It was
and
dying.
The word humane is in the Humane Society charter, bylaws, and all that they are in existence to do. I mean, this is very disturbing from both animal control and the Humane Society. There are distinctions that the public doesn't make, and I want to make that distinction, but both parties need to face the facts that we've got to do a whole lot better. I'm very fortunate to have the largest part of the county and have dog issues virtually every month and often once or twice a week. And I know I've had good experience with that, but you're bringing something to our attention that needs to be addressed with both our statutory animal control officers as well as the Humane Society, and that coordination of that animal is going in that building. We have to get that clarified.
Well,
there is an injured animal, and you had to lead them to find out who to go to get veterinary care. That shouldn't have happened. They should have offered that up from the Humane Society.
citizens shouldn't be running dead animals around trying to search for somebody, a veterinary service
This
to
is one who's done
provide
that
it.
several times in the
So,
last 5 years.
we shouldn't have to do that. It should be, they should, if that is, you know, part of their job as far as what they're supposed to do, they should take. And the cat sat back in the car for probably 30 minutes slowly dying, and we were wanting to get it services so that they could put it down or whatever needed to be done so that it wouldn't have to sit in the back of the car and die slowly.
As
But
a magistrate
no one offered us assistance.
and someone who's passionate about animals, thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate hearing your concerns, and we have work to do, so, yeah,
Thank you.
definitely. Okay, next, Julie Rhodes.
Good morning.
Morning.
I know many of you, some I don't. I came to Mr. Herron's office once seeking assistance with abused horses, and the outcome of that was wonderful. And the Humane Society actually was involved in that. That was years ago. I am Julie Rhodes. I am not here to argue opinion or for any political agenda. I am, first, for a frame of reference, just going to pull some things that I pulled out of state mandates and Ordinance 842.1, just for a frame of reference for those who may not even be here for this concern. Animal is defined by the Boyle County Ordinance 842.1 is any non-human creature except an insect. So when I heard cats, just an injured cat, that's far above being an insect. Ordinance 842.1, of course the state has mandates, but the mandate is pretty open. But Boyle County 842.1 has been very specific. It's well defined. So the effective control of animals, ensuring the protection of animals, and abatement. So this is a term that has been addressed. The power or authority to manage, Boyle County is taking this on, the power or authority to manage, direct, superintend, restrict, regulate, direct, govern, administer, or oversee to ensure the protection of animals and the abatement of public nuisances stemming from the mistreatment, maltreatment, abandonment of animals, and regulating commerce.
regarding animals. I'm not going to go, there's a lot of language. So I'm here. So how is this done? How do you put all this into play? And what is a realistic outcome? And so I'd like to share an experience I had. In the past, I've been a resident just since, I think, 1984. I had a lot of positive experiences living on a busy street corner, lots of strays, where there would be an instant response, either by the director, at that time one a female, later a male, or the animal control officers. This happened on April 28, 22. At approximately 3:30 p.m. in Boyle County, a resident came to the Boyle County Spay and Neuter Clinic. I was a volunteer. Happy Paws, holding two small floppy ear spotted puppies close to her heart. We were closing at that time. I just finished cleaning up and we were closing. She was in tears and explained she found us. She saw our sign on the bypass and hoped we would help the puppies she clutched in her arms as no one else would. Earlier, she had been to the Boyle County Humane Society. Not only would they help the puppies, they were extremely short and rude. They would not even let her in the door. The person who opened the door in response to her arrival had asked where she had found the puppies, and they had come from Lincoln County by this Boyle County resident on her way home. The funny thing, they were found at the county line. But she was very honest. She was right past that line. The sweet person was turned away with the reasoning that the dogs were found out of the county. And again, they were found near the county line. And we can't regulate if a dog is going up. They don't know what county they're in. And they, you know how quickly they move. She was in her friend's truck because she had no car and no income and could not afford to even feed the puppies and no place to keep them. She was truly desperate, a desperate person. And this is where I ended up taking them. I couldn't stand it. So here I am, it's later in the day. I call the Humane Society, trying to find the reasoning. And again, they're not from this county. At that point, I had honestly heard so many accounts of poor response that I just took it as it was.
And again, this was just last year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can take you through it, what I went through 5 hours later. 5 hours later. I finally, through connecting with several people I knew that worked with rescue animals, I finally connected with an entity through Laura Helton that's called Kentucky Saving Them Together. They were able to contact a vet. I was on my way to Eastern Kentucky to the emergency. I'd started to Lexington, and then someone said I'd have better in Eastern. And so then I headed to Liberty. About 9 o'clock at night, they met me, and they took these two puppies. They named them Bindi and Mickey and sent me a bill for $920. I did not expect them to absorb the expense. I was desperate. And fortunately, I was in a situation where I felt I wouldn't be in too much trouble accepting the responsibility. Bindi survived, Mickey did not. They did have parvo. And Bindi was adopted, and I saw a picture of a beautiful spotted dog. Beautiful dog. And I could show you pictures of them in the back of my car. I was taking pictures, and they were very cute dogs. Since then, 5/22, a conversation overheard by our director at Spay and Neuter. Amber brought in kittens from Lincoln County. Amber works in Boyle County. She understood the reasoning for not taking the cats, but she said there was no need to be so rude, and no alternatives were given. So the reasoning of being out of county is understood, even though we are considered, Danville is a region, we have a regional hospital. But I could go on. August 31st, 2022, there's another complaint. Once again, shelter refuses dog. I've had my own experiences. Here's another one, May 10th, 2023. I'm not going to, you've gotten emails, all of you have received them. I had my own experience with a raccoon, but luckily I called the state right away and was given was given resources, and finally stayed with a raccoon for an hour. The reasoning was it's been bumped by a car and off it went into the woods. But I have learned, I have a whole list now of who to call for wild animals, for horses, for dogs, for cats, but none of them is the Boyle County Humane Society. None of them is our animal control officer. And all of these people are desperate for resources. And honestly, I used to contribute to the Humane Society. Now I contribute to the Kentucky Humane Society and the Humane Society USA. Why? Because they're proactive. And then the others, by absorbing costs for animals, I bring to them. We're just here to educate the public so people don't have to go through what I went through. 5 hours driving around, desperately trying to call. So the public needs to be educated on what is available to us, if that makes sense. Just let us know. And
Would you
as a
mind to share that
citizen, I
list
pay taxes.
with us?
Oh, certainly. I'll give it to you. May I? Yeah. Thank you.
Were your experiences, first of all, the ones with the 2 puppies, did they involve both our ACO, our staff member, as well as separately the Humane Society, or separately and distinctly just the Humane Society?
I would have to say the puppies were just the Humane Society, because I cannot tell you the number of times I have called Animal Rescue. There is no response. I have to call 911, and even then to get dispatch. And then even then I've had no response. So it's kind of as if in the county, for those who have tried, the mindset is, why bother? Why even bother? Why waste your time? Why take 15 minutes of valuable time getting nowhere?
For the 5 hours you spent with the puppy.
And I have been out to the Humane Society. I was actually looking for the grave of a dog, which is nothing to do with anything. And I saw a lot of people moving around, but I did not see any I didn't see any dogs. I did see one up front. That's not one up front. But usually there was a vast amount of activity, and you'd hear lots of barking. I didn't even hear any barking in the kennels, and I did not find my dog's grave. But J.T. Goggins had that fundraising program years ago, and I do not expect them to keep up all of that. Are there any questions?
I think we're very enlightened.
My concern, just let us know.
Thank
And
you
as a
for your work.
citizen, where are my taxes going?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Rhodes. All right, and next, we have Rachel Beckman.
Thank you, Judge Bottom. As she said, my name is Rachel Beckman. I am a lifelong Danville resident and a graduate of Danville High School and Center College, and I would very much like to thank the Fiscal Court for allowing me to speak before you this morning. These are thoughts that have been brewing for 2 years, at least. You all may wonder how I'm qualified to speak on this issue, because I don't run a rescue. I, like the other ladies who've spoken today, am a lifelong animal lover. I'm currently owned by 5 cats. But my animal advocacy truly dates from the polar vortex in February of 2021, when a scraggly little black and white cat with a ruptured eye made his way 3 streets over to my house. He became Cagney Cayenne Beckman, and he's a happy, healthy, one-eyed boy. Fast forward to the summer of 2021, and I learned that there were I think 2 males, 2 females, and a litter of kittens living outside that same home that Cagney came from. I went over, I spoke to the homeowner. He did not claim ownership of them. He specifically offered them to me, said he didn't like cats, he didn't want them. And I got pictures and videos. They were living outside in filth, drinking water with a ton of roaches floating in it, starving. And so naturally I contacted Animal Control and the Humane Society. And to say the least, I received minimal support from them. One employee, actually, of the Humane Society told me that they would have a, quote, fine life if after they were spayed and neutered, they were returned to those living conditions. Needless to say, that didn't happen. I found a foster who helped me get them into Happy Paws and get them spayed and neutered. And we worked together to find adoptive homes for all of them, completely independent of any organization besides, as I said, Happy Paws. So, word of this positive outcome started to spread. And I began having people contact me. It's every day now, but it slowly increased more and more and more. People would beg me to help them find rescues, find fosters, find transport somewhere else, find money to vet these animals that are sick or hurt or endangered. And they asked me almost always after they'd already contacted animal control and or the Humane Society and been denied help. And several people have told me that they were very rudely denied help. And there's just no sense in that, even if they can't help. You can be courteous about it. So, over the past 2 years, I've spent much of my free time compiling a network of resources across Kentucky, even in some surrounding states. And the sad part is that now, anytime anyone in Boyle County contacts me for help with cats or dogs, I always have to direct them out of the county, sometimes out of the state. We're in a pet overpopulation crisis because largely COVID forced spay and neuter clinics and vet offices to close. And as a result, it's created a vicious cycle of unaltered animals breeding more and more unaltered animals. And people are dumping their pets at record rates. And we're doing what we can to get out from under that. It takes time, but in the meantime, it breaks my heart for these suffering animals and for the Good Samaritans who are fostering and transporting and rescuing them. And it angers me that these volunteers, myself included, are pushed to the emotional and mental and physical and financial breaking point with few donations, no opportunities for grants, because some of us aren't 501c3s or we're not shelters. Meanwhile, our county organizations accumulate the funds and the donations and the grants, and they don't use them effectively, or they don't even use them at all. In fact, a local animal advocate recently told me, quote, "At this point, if I can't help, unfortunately, I just have to turn my head because I know there's nothing they will do." They being our Danville-Boyle County Humane Society and our Boyle County Animal Control. I don't know about you, but to me that is completely unacceptable. They are not fulfilling their vision and their mission. And I know we've all painted a really bleak picture here, but there's a ray of hope. The situation is not hopeless. Boyle County has the financial resources to combat this animal overpopulation crisis. And now what we need are programs and plans that direct that money where it will do the most good. So where do you start with that? I propose we establish a task force composed of Humane Society and animal control employees, Happy Paws representatives, local vets, local citizens involved in rescue, and local government officials. We need to work together and formulate plans to tackle this problem as effectively as possible. We can learn from other Kentucky communities who are effectively combating this crisis, perhaps send mentors from places like Lexington Humane Society, Hardin County. Finally, the fiscal court can pass stronger, clearer county ordinances that are easy for animal control to enforce. A good model for those is Louisville, who has some of the strongest and best animal ordinances in the entire country. In conclusion, as you can see, this is a complex, multifaceted problem, and it's going to require compassionate, dedicated, imaginative, cooperative individuals to solve it. But fortunately, Boyle County is full of such individuals. And I'm confident that together we can add animal welfare to the list of areas in which our community is a regional and a statewide leader. Thank you. I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have.
Any comments?
I just
Rachel?
know we've got a problem, and I know we'll work together, and I like your suggestions. I appreciate those.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.
And I was kind of waiting for everybody to finish before jumping in here, but I appreciate each and every one of you all for coming forward with these concerns and these issues. And Magistrate Sleeper and I do serve on the Animal Control Committee for the county, and this has been a all-consuming issue. that we've been working on. And it is, as you indicated, complex, more complex than you would think on the surface. And so there's been a lot of time spent by a lot of staff within the county government and trying to come up with some solutions. And your suggestions are some of those that are being, already being put in place with the development of a task force. We probably need to expand the task force to some others that you indicated, but there is a task force being put together. And we have updated our ordinance, but we can always work to improve that ordinance some more and make it more clear. And we've been really working to come to some type of solution and agreement with the Humane Society, between Animal Control and the Humane Society, because while they work closely together, they are two separate entities. And that's one of the things that is oftentimes confusing for the public. They should not act in a rude, unsupportive manner on either side, but they do work closely together, and there clearly is a lot of work to be done. But I guess I do want to assure the public that a lot of work is being done. We're just not there yet.
I would echo what Magistrate Jason said,
absolutely.
and we sincerely thank you all for coming and sharing your experiences with this presentation, because it will help us to address the challenges that we are facing with this. Thank you.
I want this answer to be in the record. Approximately how many kennel spaces do we have at the Humane Society?
Well, on AC or on Humane Society, because it's separate. There's 8.
Two are
On the AC side.
2 are quarantined, I think, and
Yeah.
or we have 8 and 2.
And how many are occupied right this very day?
Probably 1.
Oh, I think they
One or
said 4 was yesterday. There was 4.
Okay.
Yeah, there were 4 in there
But that's
yesterday.
an anomaly, because I've heard that it's virtually empty many, many days and weeks and months. And to me, that's outrageous that we have a Humane Society with a beautiful building, with both taxpayer dollars and incredible donations, and yet those kennels, with what you illustrated, has happened since COVID, with the plethora of animals out there in the streets. I hate to say it, but they'd almost have to double up to do the right thing for the animals that are in need out here. And it just has to, I mean, we can talk about a task force, but today that issue should change immediately. If in my vast district or anywhere else, 3 animals are brought in today, they should be put in that kennel or taken to the vet and brought back immediately.
I think we need to include the people that are rescues. You know, that's an area I hadn't even thought of, that they're kind of doing the job for us. We need to include them in our plan to go forward.
The Lord will treat you well.
Thank you. It's not just me. It's a ton of people. It truly does take a village.
Sounds like a dog.
Agreement.
Handling your problems.
If it's okay, I'm going to pass my card out.
Sure.
And have you all contact me, and we'll try to incorporate you and
Yeah.
bring you up to speed on what we have been doing. I think
Wonderful.
there is a lot. I probably spend about 30 of my 40 hours a week on animal control. That is no exaggeration
Yeah.
at all.
Right.
So let me.
It's been a week of heavily involved with animal control and all.
It's been a month.
And I see that Magistrate
months.
Cullen is with
Multiple
us
months,
now,
yeah.
and Magistrate Cullen, if you want to make any comments, just jump in there.
Is anyone else allowed to speak?
Yes, oh yes.
Hi,
Yeah, briefly.
Hey, you wanna come up here? I'll switch.
sorry, I'll just make this really quick. I organized I used to be on the board. My name is Jenna Gordon. When I arranged something starting in 2019, probably the best thing that's continued on after COVID, they sat with the dogs with the fireworks, so I started that. At that time, when we sat with the dogs at fireworks on 4th of July, there was 36 spots. Just runs. There was the 2 quarantine, the number on ACO, there's a separate hall for like overflow, and then there's the adoption floor. There was
36, you say?
there was 36.
What's
At
the
that-
contrast today?
There's I don't know the number exactly on each spot, but there's the number that have been vaccinated, ready to go on the adoption floor, like a middle area, and then there's the area that's quarantined, strays, and part of that ACO side is like ones that are in court, they can't be seen yet, court cases, haven't been vaccinated, haven't done the 5-day stray hold. And then there's a whole treatment room that has all kinds of crates. I never saw a dog in there the whole 3 years I was on the board. There is a, we rewrote all these policies and procedures where there were different, there's supposed to be separate quarantine and intake areas. There's all kinds of crates in an exam room.
So we could be up to 50.
Oh, I can't tell you how many dogs could probably fit in there if they had to. I mean, the runs, there's treatment rooms, there's all kinds of rooms. I mean, yeah, and I mean, it used to be, when I left there prior to COVID, it used to be, there's dogs everywhere.
And that's
except
on the
for the
Humane
treatment
Society side.
That was the whole building.
That was the whole building.
Because as a board member, I was allowed to go back to the ACO, so all the ACO runs were full, except we started regulating those 2 quarantine were left open. They weren't filled. We started regulating that. There used to be 2 outside. We stopped having the dogs outside. And then, you had the cat room. So, and they were starting to build separate cat condos and different things like that. And then they stopped taking cats, ironically. But yes, I have not personally been in there in years because I've been working with rescues because of everything that's been going on.
Right.
But yes, there were, when I was there and I organized the 4th of July, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, I want to say there was 36. I could be wrong, but there was definitely more than 8 because I arranged someone to sit with every single run and every single dog, and I organized the whole thing. So there's a lot more
we
for little.
differentiate between humane and the county has the responsibility for all the dogs.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
even if they're on the
absolutely.
Humane Society, they're still our dogs.
Dogs and cats.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. You're welcome. We
Judge,
appreciate all of you all being here today and voicing your concerns, and we will certainly take everything you said with us to heart and work for a solution.
Judge, I have one more input from a constituent, and I hope this is not true, and I hope it's invalidated if it is incorrect. But I heard that recently in the heat wave, we did not move some animals into the air-conditioned section. Can anybody validate that actually took place? Because that should never in a heat wave take place.
I think that would have to come from our AC officers to tell us whether or not that's...
I'd like for somebody to pursue that and find out, because that never can happen, especially when we only have 4 or 5 animals in a place that could be a minimum of 36 kennels.
What was the question?
Right.
What was the question?
During a recent heat wave, if there were animals on the animal control side that weren't moved into the air-conditioned Humane Society side.
I thought the whole thing
I
was
think it's all
fairly
air conditioned.
climate-controlled.
It was out in the...
Oh, it was out,
yeah.
Magistrate Ellis.
Our ACO said they had to go get fans because the air wasn't working on our side.
But there were empty kennels in the Humane Society. Had to be if they're 36.
I can't say that 100%. I want to say yes, but that wouldn't be fair.
Yeah. Thank
I
you.
wasn't there.
Right, yeah. So we would have to get verification from our AC.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you all. Okay, next, we have some special recognition, and is Lucretia out in the hall? I hear her.
I know.
Come
Not
in.
quiet.
We have our PVA officer, Lucretia Gibson, or I'm sorry, our PVA, not our PVA officer, but
We won't be very long. Honestly, did you have something, Katina? Though, thank you. No?
no, we thought you were
Okay,
saying
so no, I don't. Actually, Jennifer, you want to get to the podium, Jennifer? To be politically correct. I just would like to take this opportunity to thank Jennifer publicly for her 30 years of service. She started working in the PVA office July 1st of 1993.
Awesome.
So she was recognized. She's not a big fan of recognition. I don't know if she's going to speak to me the rest of the day. She actually was recognized. She was also recognized at our summer conference. So that's why she received actually an award there. but I wanted to make sure and let you all know and recognize her today for her 30 years of service to this county. And we thank you for allowing us the time to do that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you all. She is part of the courthouse family. So.
That's right.
And she just had a birthday the other day.
And she just had a birthday.
39.
Yeah.
Remember when she was
Do you want a picture with her?
We'll get one later.
Okay.
We'll get one. Bye, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer, for your years of service. We
Thank you.
appreciate you. Okay, and next we have another employee recognition, and this one goes to Colin Shepperson, and I believe he is here. Colin has been with us 5 years, from 2018 to 2023. Colin, if you'll come up and receive your certificate of appreciation. This is in grateful recognition for your 5 years of service and contributions to the citizens of Boyle County.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's right. We appreciate you. If you'd like to say anything to the court, you're welcome to do that.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate the job and the opportunity, very much so.
Colin works in our
Ghost Pike Recycling Center.
I always get it.
Convenience Center.
Convenience, that's the word. I want the recycling center.
There's enough about the
But it
county.
also is recycling.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll also tell you if there's a tree down anywhere, far beyond what his responsibilities are, and I thank you for that.
So you may see him if you use the Ghost Pike Convenience Center. You may see him out there.
Yep, and always helpful and tolerant.
Yeah, yeah.
I try to be. Thank
Would
y'all
his
very much.
supervisor like to say anything?
Well, while we're here, of course, I always appreciate all my convenience center operators. They go through a whole lot. But I want you all also to remember, I have a convenience center operator this morning that is in the hospital and we don't know what's wrong with him.
Oh.
He's the Allen Spring Dam Faulkner. We have no idea what's wrong with him, so keep him in your prayers.
Okay, we certainly will. Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Next on our agenda, and I may not say this name correctly, but we have the Associate Professor of Economics and Business at Center College, Patten Mahler. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I said I probably crucified your last name.
Mahler.
Mahler, okay, well, hey, I was pretty close.
We're going to pass these around. If you take one and pass one, I'm glad to give these to you all too. I might steal one. Hi, so my name is Patten Mahler. I teach at Center, but I'm not here representing Center. I'm here representing Heart of Kentucky Kids, which is a collaborative. So it's really just a group of people that are interested in helping support early childhood development and kindergarten readiness. We serve both Boyle and Mercer counties, and we're funded by the Governor's Office of Early Childhood. And we appreciate you all having us today. We're just here to talk about what we do and the services that we offer in hopes that you all will get the word out to our community. And I have two folks with me who are going to share two projects that we've done real quickly with you.
Yes, please.
So Chelsea, would you like to go?
I'm Chelsea Clark. I'm preschool director and elementary curriculum director for Boyle County Schools, and very fortunate to be involved in this group. Just to brag on us just a little bit, we are a bright spot in the state of Kentucky. These regional collaboratives are all over the state. Every county is invited to be a part of one. And ours is recognized for how well we collaborate among each other with all different public, private, and government entities. We really work well together, which really has helped to bring the project that I'm going to talk about, which is the new child care center that is going to be going into the old Jenny Rogers building, which is a collaboration between the city of Danville and Boyle County Schools. So we're working together to bring much needed child care to our area, so we're very excited about that. But it really came about out of some work that this group did even back probably as early as 2018, 2019. I know several of you in this room, I know Mr. Gaddis has been involved in it from the very beginning. So we, what we're here to do is we're just about building relationships, about making connections, and then those connections and relationships become the foundation for projects like this. So all of us had already talked about the things we wanted to do. We came together as a team, brought all the stakeholders to the table, and now here we are, hopefully within 6 months, opening a child care center for families in our community.
That's fantastic.
Very excited
Yeah,
about that.
congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Great.
And I'm Erin Linden. I'm a speech pathologist by trade, but I work for Ether McDowell, and I'm the supervisor at Kids Can Do Pediatric Therapy Center. And so my involvement in Heart of Kentucky Kids came along just being part of all of the kids, which I'm usually talking with children, so this is very different for me.
We're all kids at heart.
That is true. So I'm going to talk about our Ready for K camp. It's getting kids in Mercer and Boyle counties ready for kindergarten. And it's through Heart of Kentucky Kids making this possible for 100 kids. Right now we have 67 signed up, but we have 100 spots for kids to come and just have a good time from 9 to 12 in the morning. July 24th is the first day. And it's bringing a lot of stakeholders together of the Art Center, Boyle County Library, Mercer County Library, Parks and Rec of Boyle, Wilderness Yoga Shala, Kids Can Do Pediatric Therapy Center, and also just the schools. So Bergen, Mercer, Danville, and Boyle County schools. But we're really excited about that. We are definitely in need of volunteers. So I can hand some of the flyers out for volunteers and some of the flyers for camp. But that's just one of our projects that right now, this is our first annual, hopefully to be something we do each year to get everyone all involved with our kids early on.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. So it's just for kids that are coming into kindergarten, so they could be 5, they could be 6 years old.
That's
It's
right.
not, okay, restriction on the age.
That's
just
right.
if they're kindergarten ready.
Kindergarten ready.
Yeah, I'd love to have a flyer if you haven't actually.
Yep. Get those ready for you.
And we hope that we have a great Facebook page, which you can follow here, which has tips every day about how to help your kids between the ages of 0 and 5 and how to help support their development. We have an email list where we talk about what our meetings are and the stuff that we're doing, but really we're just interested in if you have a need, if you know some people who have a need in terms of helping support these kids, we'd love to help kind of bring our community together around that. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wish just a few copies of those.
Awesome, thank you very much.
I appreciate you all.
All right, we appreciate you ladies being
Thank
here and
you.
giving us
Thank
this
you so
information.
much.
And
Thank you very much.
congratulations and good luck.
Sounds
Yeah.
exciting.
A lot going on.
Okay, next we have our Parks and Rec update, Mr. Mark Morgan.
Thank you all for the opportunity to come forward. We are here today, and I'm going to have people stand up in just a minute. Some of the nicest people and hardest working volunteers we're going to find in a county full of volunteers. So on July 1st, 2020, many of you know, the city of Danville and the county of Boyle signed a memorandum of agreement that would finally bring some clarity to the administration of Parks and Rec. The Parks and Rec had a board which was then changed to a Parks and Rec committee. That committee was created out of the former board and was created in that memorandum of agreement. One of the terms of that agreement is that there would be quarterly reports from Parks and Rec to the fiscal court and to the city commission. As you recall, in July 2021, COVID was rampant. There were no vaccines, there were no effective treatments, and many of these requirements remained unmet, along with a number of requirements throughout our society. We're here today to get things back on track. We look forward to working with you in the future. We're very proud of what we've done during COVID, and we're extremely proud of what we've done when some of the restrictions were lifted. And I want to introduce the members of the committee, that many of whom served on that former board and are continuing to serve our county and our city well and our Parks and Rec. David Kamek, can you stand up? Ed Raw, Sarah Berry, Ernest Dunn, and Joe Marie Lammy had a family funeral and couldn't be here this morning. Many of you know all these folks, and Joe Marie, and LaFonda Stallworth, who many of you know had a conflict and couldn't be here today. But the 7 of us make up the committee that was created, and we've been meeting at least monthly. We've had Tom and Jason both attend with us, and we welcome you all in the future. We're working with Judge Bottom in terms of the selection of a new Parks and Rec director, and I don't want to get in the weeds about that because that's a process that's going on right now as we speak. But I just want to assure you that we are working, the committee is working with your county judge executive and with the city commission to move that ball forward. There are many good applicants. So with that, thank you, committee, and we'll continue on. I want you to know as magistrates that you have to be responsive to a variety of different needs. We've heard about some of the animal needs this morning, and I've been to many fiscal court meetings. I know how responsive you have to be to a variety of needs of your constituents. Similarly, Parks and Rec has a number of different constituents. We have young kids who are in a summer camp, and we're going to hear a little bit about that in a minute. We have kids at the Early Childhood Development Center that's being established at Jenny Rogers that should open in the next few months that we just heard about. We have kids, elementary school kids, t-ball, softball, baseball, soccer, football, basketball, all these organized rec league programs, but we also have the skate park, as you know. That's a whole constituency. Out on 2168, which is now a linear park, I've seen kids out there who are learning to ride without training wheels, and whole families out there walking, running, etc. We have trails, linear parks along Clark's Run now, along going from Stanford Road to Main Street. And the variety of things that we're affording is amazing. We have a group called the Danville Equity Committee that has come forward in recent months to address the needs of teenagers. And I think that all of us, when we were teenagers and ever since, all teenagers say there's nothing to do. And that's just a statement that we hear from teenagers, but this group is trying to address that need. And Parks and Rec, and you may hear something more about that, Parks and Rec staff have been stepping up to address that. There have been gatherings at Millennium and at other settings where teenagers can take part in activities, but they can also, quote unquote, hang out, talk, be somewhere instead of just isolated in front of a screen. So we're trying to address that constituent also. There's activity for young adults. Frequently I've served on the hospital board and Economic Development Fund and different groups throughout our community. And one of the drums that I hear being beat time and time again is, how are we going to get people like Paula's and Joni's and my kids and Jamie's kids? They all went to Boyle together or to Danville together, and many of our kids who grew up here, who have gone off to get an education, are not returning, and Parks and Rec is trying to address that need by providing activities. And there have been some real creative programs you're going to hear about, and basically they're dealing with volleyball, softball, kickball, all kinds of things that there's a tremendous amount of interest in, that's new and innovative in our community, and we're real proud of it. The Frisbee golf seems, Jackson Park's been getting a lot of attention for years. We kind of focused on Millennium and Jackson Park, Michael Smith Park at Batewood Homes. We have ideas for Calvin Park, and on and on. We're trying to address areas in the south end of town where there are a lot of single parent families that are underserved, and trying to reach out to those kids. We have plans that we're hopeful about that will have trails connecting parks so bicycles and pedestrians can reach different parks, different schools. All of these are not going to be overnight solutions, but we're working towards them, and we continue to work towards them. Most of you are aware of plans for aquatic centers that are being considered, and there's at Bunny Davis and others. We're really proud of the fact that we've been responsive with the new tennis complex. I know I talked to many of you. Tom and I sat together and had a lot of information about the new tennis center, which is a really good complex for a town our size. And now the fence is already up, the resurfacing is already funded, and we're going to have 6 new pickleball courts at the Bunny Davis Club, and that demographic, that group has sprung up in the last year and a half. They've done a good job of organizing themselves and explaining their needs, and we've worked in tandem with them for the design of this facility. We've done some Band-Aid measures at Jackson Park to get that adequate for pickleball play, and we've had indoor pickleball play at Jenny Rogers. So I just can't say enough about how strong Parks and Rec is and how innovative and creative. Our Amber Schartzer is going to talk to you in a minute. Amber is the glue that's been holding Parks and Rec together. Stephanie Boyd is here, and she's going to talk, and she is the program coordinator who's done a lot of innovative thinking. Connor Fair is in charge of maintenance, and I've had a chance since I've been honored by being elected chairperson of this committee to spend a lot of time at the Bunny Davis Club and elsewhere, getting to know all of our staff, and I could not be more proud of our entire staff. These 3 get the recognition, but they will tell you that they would not be as successful as they are without all of our staff. So with that, Amber?
Mark, could I interrupt?
Yeah.
Just real quick, and Amber may be addressing this as well, but I'm going to maybe beat some of my fellow magistrates to the punch here, but I've long felt like, obviously Parks and Rec is many things to many people, as you indicated, but also needs to be a county-wide, from border to border entity. And so I guess I'm wondering and Magistrate Bodner is working on a very exciting project that you may be aware of.
I'm aware of it.
That needs to be part of Parks and Rec's offerings. But then also what is being done in Junction City and Perryville for Parks and Rec. I know Perryville Elementary has been long utilized as a site for Parks and Rec, but I guess I'm wondering what type of efforts are being made in Junction City and
That's a great question. First of all, I agree. The entire county needs to be covered, and we're doing that. The city of Danville is part of the county, so and if you look at our enrollment, we see, as you know, Joni and I raised our kids in Forkland, and we see a lot of Forkland kids at Millennium taking part in rec league. So we're serving the county. We may be concentrating many of our formal activities within the city limits, but we do use Junction City Elementary, we do use Perryville Elementary for rec league activities there, and we look forward to working with the Junction City Park in the future. We look forward to expanding out. I can envision, Paul and I were talking earlier about the Alum Springs Hopeful Mountain Bike Park. That would be a tremendous addition. The Trails Alliance is in favor of that. The Parks and Rec is in favor of that. The city's in favor of that. The county's in favor of that. It's a matter of getting it done. It's a great facility, and in fact, we've talked about the Trails Alliance has been working mainly with the city about an idea to join the Woven Wire Mountain Bike Park, which is over on Corporate Drive. out Lebanon Road and then out Alum Springs. It'd be a public-private joint venture, and then join those two with a trail so that individuals could reach both of those. But I don't see the city limits as being in any way a barrier to the work of Parks and Rec. I think it's seamless. I think our activities are available to all, and I could not be more proud of what we're doing already. And we've got our parks priority that I know has been presented, been made available to you all in the past, and that process is ongoing. And I foresee that there will be opportunities for Parks and Rec to be physically present in a bigger way outside the city limits in the future. It's a great question. Okay, can we, Amber, want to take a couple of minutes and bring folks up to date?
Hi,
Amber Schartzer.
I'm Amber Schartzer. I have been with Parks and Recreation since 2016, and then in my high school days, I worked part-time there. So I just want to tell you all what we've been doing over at Parks and Rec on my side. I'm the recreation supervisor there. So I kind of have my hand in like all kinds of things that go on. Recently, we just did a July 4th event out at the park. It was the first time we've ever done something that big. We had 8 food trucks out there. We had face painting. We had bouncy houses. We had 7 or 8 bouncy houses out there, and it was just amazing to see all the people come together. And then we also had a race that night, the Old Glory Twilight Run. It was originally thought to do it as a night run, running underneath the fireworks, but we thought that it might just be too hectic with people watching fireworks and everything like that. So we bumped it up just a little bit, and everything that I've heard from that turned out wonderful. It was great, and I think they had maybe about 100 or so participants in it, and it went really, really well from what I've heard. And I'm already in works with trying to plan a fall festival with a run incorporated with that. So these Maddie and Jennifer were a part of that with us, so just get ready for that one. July 20th, we're also going to participate in the Where's Waldo event that's going on downtown amongst all the stores down there. September, we're planning on a Touch a Truck event out at the park where we have all kinds of big trucks come out, and kids can come out for a few hours and get in and push the horns and make noises and make a crane thing go up and down, and try to get more kids to come out and be involved with stuff like that. Let's see. I am over our day camp that we have. On average, we have 60 kids a week coming to our day camp.
Age group?
They are kindergarten through 5th grade. And they've gone to the bouncy house, they've been to the fire station, the sheriff's department has come out and talked with them and brought their canine dog out. They're getting tennis lessons, they're going to Jenny Rogers, they swim every day, they go to the movies once a week. And they're also like I said, they're also getting tennis lessons. And then we also have a tennis clinic that's going on. Right now it's on Mondays and Thursdays. There's about 50 kids coming to that. We just have a lot of good things going on. Once a month we try to do national days, and for the month of July it's National Hot Dog Day. So on July 19th we're going to have hot dogs, so come on out to Bunny Davis for that. And then we have also, with the Heart of KY Kids that spoke a little while ago, I'm on that committee with them, and Parks and Recreation partnered with them to help bring the Dolly Parton Imagination Library to our community. So I oversee that and input all of the kids into that program and accept them whenever their parents get on and register themselves. And for the month of July, we had 900 kids that are receiving books through the Dolly Parton Imagination Library.
Wow, that's incredible.
When I lived in Bowling Green, once I graduated, my first daughter was a part of that program, and it was amazing. I worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters there, and we worked closely with the Heart of United Way, and United Way there was the one that did the Dolly Parton. And even when we moved here from Bowling Green, she still received a book up until she turned 5. And so even if kids move out of our county, we still service them and send a book to them wherever they go to until they get ready to go to kindergarten. It's an amazing program, and some of these kids wouldn't get a book otherwise. But it's for any child that's under the age of 5, and Dolly's given out a lot of books over the years, so we really love Dolly. But do y'all have any questions for me while I'm up here?
With the schedules that everybody around this table has, could you please, so that we all know, when your meetings take place. Would you?
I will.
The committee
meetings? Yes,
Yeah.
They're the
Because
third Wednesday.
But again, with our busy schedules, if you would
I
put us
will.
on your mailing list,
Okay.
we could read the minutes and we could know what's going on.
I'll make sure to add you all to them.
Right.
Yeah.
And then a crazy idea, we go to judges and magistrates conferences, and something that's done in a couple of communities across the state, they go to Fish and Wildlife, they get a special exemption for a weekend. We've got a wonderful lake out there, and I've seen people carrying out some nice fish. What if with our bass program, which has winning a team here in Boyle County, what if you got with those teens who are part of that team and had sometime in late September, early October when it's cooler, for teens only to come out for a fishing contest? That would get your teens out. And we could have awards for them. They get in the newspaper. And I know our bass team here would be, I'm not volunteering them, but I think they'd be excited about that because there's some pretty good
Good
fish
idea,
around.
Tom.
It's a good idea. And I'm actually in talks with somebody that is at Fish and Wildlife right now to get a Saturday event out there for kids to come fishing.
That way they don't have to have a license for that day.
Yeah, we did it a couple years ago and it went over really well, and then COVID hit and it just hasn't happened again, but I had somebody reach out to me about it.
This is
So,
focused on those teens to get them out and realize there's a lot more than just a lake there.
Good
Or there
idea.
is a free weekend in the first weekend in June, I believe.
I
It's
think
free
that's it,
fishing.
yeah.
Weekend for kids. So, well, thank you for being here. We appreciate you
thank
coming and
you.
letting the
Thank
court get to
you.
meet you and
And
appreciate everything you do.
we have
Thank
one
you.
more presenter.
Okay.
And Stephanie Boyd is in charge of our programs, and like I said, Connor Fair is in charge of maintenance.
Hi, good afternoon, or good morning. My name is Stephanie Boyd. I live right in town, right in behind Giovanni's. I live on one of the President Street. I'm very happy to be here. I'm the athletic supervisor for Danville Boyle County Parks and Recreation. I started in September of 21, and I'm just very excited about all the different things that we have going on in the park. But I am over like the programming. So anything that, I'll give you some examples. Like we just did our spring 2023 spring t-ball, baseball, and softball season. Those are for our kids who are 4 all the way to 11-year-old girls. And we had over 500 participants in that program. So we had a really nice season. We also do we have things for teenagers that Mark was talking about. And Mark really he kind of stole my thunder. He talked about a lot of things that I was like, I just threw my paper on the floor. But we do have a lot of things with our teenagers, and I want to brag about the meeting. I feel like when I started here, it was the meetings kind of were just something that we just did to kind of mark that standard off, right? We just had the meeting. But I'm like, we have this group of people that meet once a month. They're a great resource, valuable resource to us with lots of experience in baseball and all kinds of things. Why aren't we utilizing them to get their ideas? The people know, the community know them. Let's use them to our advantage and really bounce some ideas off of them and not just be a meeting. And one of the things that they did was a man came, Rashay Ford, and he does the backpack program too. He came and said, we need things for teens. And we all agreed to, and I think that was we even had people come. I don't know if you came in that meeting. I think Mr. Ellis maybe was there. We used that, and we used that meeting to brainstorm some ideas. And Sarah and Ernest, and then we had the Danville Equity Committee came. And so we started that summer youth nights at the park, which has been really, really successful. I went a couple weeks ago and just dominated on the basketball court against some of these young teenagers. I'm like, put them in their place. But so that's exciting that we have that. For the teenagers, and then like Mark said, they're starting to play, learning disc golf and really utilizing Jackson Park, and then our skateboard. We have some ideas for our skateboard park too to get them over there and utilizing that. But and not just so now we have young kids, we have our teenagers, our adults. When I got the position, I told them that I didn't just turn 30 and not want to play sports anymore. I want, just because we have kids doesn't mean I don't want to get out there and do some things too. So I said, let's bring back adult softball. So we brought back adult softball in the fall of last year, and we're going to be doing that again this fall. That was very exciting for our community. I think we had over 200 adults that participated in that last fall. And then we started last summer, we did our summer volleyball league for adults. And that was very successful, and we're getting ready to start that up again just in the next couple weeks. So we have that for adults, and then as Mark said, even our older adults, pickleball. I don't know if you all have played pickleball, but pickleball is exciting, and it is not easy. I don't care what anybody says. I went out there and got invited to play one time, and asked me if I wanted, just some time to kind of dink the ball around. And Debbie Stevens said that. I said, I don't need time to dink. I'm 30 years younger than you all. I'm getting ready to dominate. And I have not won a game since, or yet. So it's very popular too. It's the fastest growing sport in the I think the United States. And I think our committee and the park have done a really great job of meeting that for them with our we have courts at Jenny Rogers Community Center that they go and play at on Monday nights and Wednesday evenings, and we let them play all winter as well. So that's exciting. And then the new courts over at Bunny Davis that we're working on, and then the courts at Jackson Park, so they have lots of places to play. But we're open for all kinds of discussions. I just wanted you guys I wanted to meet you all too and let you all know, like, we'd love for you to come to those meetings if you can. I know you're busy, but to bounce some ideas off what you all want to see done in Junction and Parable. I know we do things at Parable and we do things at Junction, but I'm open for some kickball leagues maybe in Junction City. And then what's that restaurant that's there with the burgers at Alumni Springs? What's that restaurant? Apple Springs. What is it? Oh my goodness, we just had that for the first time. That was delicious. So I can foresee something going on even for adults too, or in that area, or kids or teens, and then going to Bud and Cheryl's afterwards. But yeah, so I just wanted to introduce myself to you.
Mr. Gay has a comment.
One more. The splash pad, which hasn't been mentioned necessarily, is obviously a huge hit and very popular. Are there any plans for any other splash pads to be anywhere in the community?
Thank you, Steph. Yes, you're very welcome.
There's an aquatics plan, and as you know, there were 3 primary locations in addition to Bunny Davis, and then what to do with Bunny Davis. Currently, one of those, you probably can guess, it's no secret, you've met about it, you've seen the numbers, the cost, but it looks like one of those may be built there at Jenny Rogers. I don't know for sure. And then at Bunny Davis, actually, there's been a lot of work done at Bunny Davis, and we're meeting with some success there this summer. And with the new pickleball courts there, the future of that pool is being reconsidered as we speak. In addition, in that grassy area to the south of the pickleball tennis courts before the cosmetic dentistry, there's discussion about whether a splash pad could go there that would serve. There are a number of apartments and residences in that area, many of whom are single-family areas, dwellings, and it'd be great for kids to have a splash pad there. Similarly, it looks to me like it's going to happen that down at Batewood Homes and Michael Smith Park along Clark's Run, kind of back where the underused basketball courts are, there could be a splash pad there, and I think that is probably going to be a green light. So yeah, the idea, and also there's talk kind of behind Kroger's, there's a green area that could be made available. This is definitely aspirational, it's not certain, but aspirational that there could be a park there, not a Tom Thumb park, but a little bigger than a Tom Thumb park, with a splash pad and playground equipment that could serve those kids, because there's a number of kids south of Boffman Avenue out to 127, a lot of households, and those kids, many of them, are kind of latchkey kids at this present time because their parents are working 1 or 2 jobs, and that's their situation. And it'd be great to be able to serve that population with trails and a Tom Thumb park out there. And as we continue to look outside the city limits, there could be, if the splash pad, if we get those going, having kind of neighborhood splash pads and playground is being discussed. So again, it's aspirational. I'm not promising anything. The funds haven't been allocated, they're not budgeted, but the discussions are ongoing.
Well, thank you. And the last thing is, I hope that we maintain Bunny Davis and it stays there and we just put some money into it to renovate it. But I do want to go on record that if a decision is ever made to do away with that current facility, I would hope that the naming of Bunny Davis would move to some other location, and that Bunny Davis would continue to be honored in the community.
Jamie, I couldn't agree more. I consider Bunny Davis a personal friend of mine when we moved here, and I agree. He deserves that. His legacy deserves that. That's a point well taken. Yeah,
And I had
Paula.
one other comment. I've been working with Josh Morgan, and I agree with everything you're doing, and I want you mentioning the splash pads. That's kind of when I met with Mayor Douglas. That's one thing I'd love to see in Junction City, a little splash pad. But so I'm sure we could work together if you could envision branching out into the county like that. I think it'd be a great area. It's really growing. The city of Junction is really growing.
That park in Junction is serving a lot of households.
Right.
My wife Joni, who you know, is out there. She was out there this morning. I mean, there are many people utilizing that facility, and that has tremendous potential, and having our county Parks and Rec coordinate with Junction City Parks and Rec is a great idea.
And I've told Mayor Douglas, and I've told Josh, and I'll tell you that I can be with anything you want to do and help us with. We've already working on some money and some grants to improve it because it needs a lot of updating. And so we'll work with you in any way we can.
Thank you. It's a good facility, but
It is.
you're right. It could be updated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, thank you all.
Thank you, Mark. We
Thank you.
appreciate you coming and giving us an update.
And we'll try to keep you all posted once a quarter, and same with City Commission. And our committee meets the third Wednesday of each month at 4:15 at City Hall. We've been
4:30.
4:30, I'm sorry. We've changed that to 4:30. As you know, Ernest is in Danville administration at schools, and 4:15 is impossible for him. So we're going to be at 4:30. You can count on that, and we are on the agenda center, and Amber said that she would include you all on the
Just a routine.
the reminder of the upcoming meeting. So
We appreciate you being here. We appreciate the board members being here and getting to meet you all, and you all getting to meet the court. So thank you for everything
Thank
that you
you.
all do,
Thank you.
for your
We look-
insight and your support, and the county's proud to be a part of it. So thank
we
you
look
very
forward
much.
to partner with you in the future.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You all can stay or leave, whatever you prefer.
I'm gonna caucus out here while we're getting right together. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark. You all have a great day. Manifest, yeah, she'll give everybody a minute to.
Ernest, thanks for
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right, we'll get back to order. Next up is our Fleet Management Director, Tommy Robertson, with Tire Machine Folks.
How y'all doing?
Good.
How are you?
Busy. All right. I don't know how this works, but this is what we've got. We've got 4 quotes now. I just got another quote from Smith's Garage yesterday. It's the last one that I got, and it is $39,180.62 is the total amount, and that is the tire machine that we need for all the vehicles in the county and the balancer. So that's what we need to get so we can take care of all of our EMS and everybody.
Other quotes.
Okay, you've got 2 for the
Smith's Garage.
balancer. I've got 2 different ones here. I've got one that's 1991 and one that's 1999.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this one here is the last one.
Tommy's
brought me a fourth quote. I did email it and put it in the packet.
Yes. All right, so this here is the
So is this one not?
Yes.
No, it's no good? And what about this one?
The way they interpreted them all in the show and everything. That was really good. So, that's what they're in balance.
Okay, is that,
Also going to hang a banner.
or this? It's all the same picture?
Yes, it's
just
all,
different?
it's all the same machines.
Okay,
It's all the same units.
okay, we just have different prices,
Correct.
but it's all the same company?
No, different company. Hunter is the one that provides, they're the distributors for
Okay.
everybody.
Okay.
Everybody in,
So Smith's Garage, Fleet Pride, and, there's Smith's Garage. So,
You are that Hunter.
I've got Mohawk Lifts
no.
I guess I
So-
could say,
quoted through, it says quoted.
Oh, here,
through.
okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm with you now, I'm with you.
Now, on everybody's, on the three, other than Smith's Garage, they're missing
Every once in a while, I'll just.
a $2,000 set of
Okay.
tools. That's why the prices are lower.
Okay.
So I believe it was 2,000.
Which one do you think is the best? Which is the best?
The
Which
one we need, the one that is the best for everything that we have going on is Smith's Garage. The last quote that I gave y'all,
Okay,
it is for $39,180.
and 62.
I'll make a motion that we accept that as the lowest and best bid.
Thank you, Mr. Gay. All right, is there a second?
it wasn't a bid, it was just.
A quote,
Quote,
sorry,
quote.
quote.
Okay. But you want us to approve that?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So we have a motion by Magistrate Gay, a second by Magistrate Sleeper to approve the bid, or the quote, my apologies, from Smith Garage in the amount of $39,180.62 for a heavy-duty elite balancer, which is a tire balancer, I'm assuming,
Tire balancer and changer.
and changer.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
2 machines.
Any discussion?
Yes, so this equipment is needed, I mean, it's not outsourced, cheaper, or is this gonna save a lot of money?
Oh, it's gonna
or-
save a lot. Just one ambulance, last year, I had to take to Lexington because nobody can balance 19.5 tires, which is a certain size tire.
Okay.
Nobody around here can balance them. They say that they can balance them, but what they end up doing is putting what they call beads in the tires.
Right.
It's
not
garbage.
good enough.
Yeah, it's terrible. So I took the ambulance to Lexington. Cost us $600 just in what they did, not counting my time to take it there. 6 hours later, I made it back. So you're talking almost $900, one vehicle. So yeah, it'll pay for itself just quick.
That's the only thing we're having to send out now on ambulances is for new tires.
Yeah.
Or tire rotations. We're not able to rotate tires like we're supposed to
Correct.
right now, so that'll be good to be able to get on
So
schedule.
it'll save
be able to
wear and
rotate.
tear of
Well,
tires.
that's the other thing is the tires, what they end up doing, they call cupping, especially on the Fords. They're real bad for that. So if you keep them rotated, they last twice as long.
Treasurer
Or 3
Lamb,
times as long.
is this in our budget? Is
Next.
covered in our budget? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carried. All right. Now what's next?
Were you voting for Magistrate Cullen?
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. All right.
All right, thank you. God bless y'all. Have a wonderful day.
Get back to work.
Yes, sir. Go right now.
Okay, so this
We probably had 3 vehicles you could have fixed by now.
Or at least driven to Lexington.
Wait just a minute,
Y'all have a
I have a
blessed day.
question.
Tommy,
Tommy, ma'am.
is this something different than,
Okay, is that Smith's Garage?
well, but this is different picture.
Okay, the,
This more
Okay.
parts?
Okay, this Smith Garage comes with this, is that right?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. We're
they
good.
bundled it all together.
So it all goes together, gotcha. Okay, all this was included in Smith's Garage,
Yes.
the other, yes. I'm glad y'all,
Okay.
I'm still fun with my papers. Thank you, Tommy.
Papers, we just have an electronic,
Yeah.
so it's easy.
There
That's why, yeah.
There was one more thing.
Yeah, I thought maybe there was.
Yeah. Okay, on any of the other quotes other than the last one, I wrote $2,000 here. All right, that $2,000 has to be for all the wheel weights and the unit that holds all the wheel weight. So I have to, it'll probably be a little less than that, but not much. But
So that's
that-
not included in the,
in any of them,
In
other
any
than
of
what I wrote, yeah. So the 39, that's from that company.
okay,
The wheel weights and all will be from a different company.
okay.
So the amount would be
39,000 plus 2,000.
Plus
Yeah, I apologize.
I'll keep that as, I'll amend that or make that part of the
Well,
motion.
no, on the Smith garage, it's in there?
No,
Okay.
no, no. The Smith's Garage, those quotes are literally just for the machines.
Okay.
Good?
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, the 2,000 we can do anyway, because it's less than
Okay.
it's 10.
It's a separate purchase.
Good?
Separate
Separate
purchase.
purchase.
It's a separate purchase, so we can do that.
Okay.
All
We
right.
can do that different.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you very
sir.
much.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
All right, next up is IT Director Bill Nichols with our email update.
Gonna be short and sweet.
Yay, like me. I'm sorry. Sorry, Bill.
Thank you.
Had to do it.
I appreciate that. You're right up my alley there. I just want to get everybody an update on the email. Most everybody has switched over to the .gov. As a matter of fact, I think everybody has. The only thing I need to do, and I'll probably get with Julie on this, is the Ethics Committee has an email on .com that I need to get switched over to .gov. So everybody at this point should be receiving all their emails in their .gov. So that means that somewhere between the 20th and 25th of July, the BoyleKY.com server will be going away. What that means is you just won't be able to go out to Google to look for emails anymore. So if you're still getting your old emails off of there, you have until about that time to do it.
What was the dates again? July?
Somewhere between July 20th and 25th.
Okay.
It just depends on how long it takes me in that week to get things set up to migrate over. Now what that means to you is, it just means that you're not going to have access to any old emails that are on that server. If you forwarded them to the .gov, you're good to go. You're still going to get, if your card happens to say Boyle County or BoyleKY.com, it will still work. Because I'm going to move all those domains over to the .gov server and create aliases. So you're not going to, it's not like you've wasted money on cards or anything like that, but just understand that the Google platform will be going away at the end of this month.
Okay.
So that's what I just wanted to stress and update. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them, or if you want to see me privately, that's fine too.
Just real quick, and we can talk more privately, but now as far as like our Google Drive, what do we then?
Good point. One of the things that you'll want to do on your tablets is you're going to want to download a program from Microsoft called SharePoint. It will be the new quote-unquote Google Drive. There'll be a area in there for you for the fiscal court meetings where your documents will start to go. And we'll start working on that as Katina has time, but I know she's pretty busy with getting the year started up and getting things going. And that won't take a big wheel, you know, to learn how to use that. It'll be very similar to the Google Drive, but it'll be more of a almost a web interface more than anything else. But it'll be nice. It'll have any emails that are sent to that group will be listed in that SharePoint, and so you'll have basically a new resource for all sorts of fiscal court meeting things.
Okay.
Do you still have employees that have not changed over yet from .com to .gov?
No.
Everybody changed over?
As far as I know at this point, everybody should be getting their email
Excellent.
at .gov.
Excellent. Okay. Just want to make sure.
So I'm just, this is that
Wouldn't
slow.
anybody hanging out there, you know?
Well, I have a few of the folks that have never had email that haven't set up their account yet.
Oh,
That's,
okay.
we're still working on those folks, but that's all right. We got anybody that's had an email with the county is now getting it at .gov.
Okay.
That includes EMS, the jail, everybody here in the courthouse.
Yeah.
They should all be getting them at .gov.
Gotcha.
Bill, am I
Yes,
the
sir.
winner among us that I'm now 52 days delinquent on no before?
On no before?
Yeah.
52 days delinquent? Oh, I bet that email was nasty.
Should we get together afterward?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I know you all have some business to take care of afterward, but whenever. It's just one of those things that I'm going to probably really get that ramped up once we get everything over to .gov, and then we'll be using that a whole lot more. So, but we'll get you fixed up. It's not as urgent as you think, but.
We appreciate your continued efforts to.
And just so you know, yes, the fiber has been installed.
Yes.
We're in the process of testing it and going to cut it over to the new firewall hopefully sometime this week, and then we'll have it all online.
Promises, promises.
I know. I've been promising this for 7.5 years, and finally it's coming about, so.
Thank you. We
Any other
appreciate
questions?
I'll be talking Spectrum after, before we adjourn. Do you have anything on Spectrum?
As far as?
Implementation.
In the county.
I know that
Yeah, in the
I can only
county.
speak from personal experience with cable company, and I spent 12.5 years with a cable company in Lexington, climbing poles and working on things and stuff like that. And I know that when people say, hey, we're going to bring fiber to this area, that takes time. And it's, unfortunately everybody's out there going, oh, we're going to get fiber, and they want it today. Not even tomorrow, but today. And they just can't work that fast. But as far as where they are in their process, they don't really communicate with me on
Well,
that.
I've got some disappointments that I'll talk about when we do the round.
Waiting is the hardest part, as they always say. And,
Communication is what they're in. And we're not
but
communicating.
if you think about it, we're only a little over a year from the announcement that was made. So in my estimation, from my experience in working in the cable industry and doing that, you're a good 18 months, 2 years away from ever seeing those extreme outliers lit up. That's my own personal.
Well, they said it would be a 2-year process, and it could
Easy.
even be more than that.
My guess would be it'll be longer than that. But I'm saying you're a good year away from the constituents being able to really take advantage, or even to start taking advantage of it, and then probably another 2 years away before they really get to the people that are far out in the county. But again, that is my own personal opinion from experience from a long time ago.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, EMS Director Mike Rogers, you have some surplus equipment?
Well, isn't that an oxymoron? Surplus
Yeah.
ambulance?
We received a letter from the instructor at the Danville BCTC campus. They are, I think maybe the previous court might have said that they would be open to donating an ambulance that is out of service that we're no longer using. That I put on the surplus list for that Elaine has collected, for them to be able to use at their Danville campus for their EMT students, paramedic students, and AMT students to be able to train in the back of an ambulance. So I included the letter in the packet from them, but the request is that, it's old EC3, the ambulance that's out of service. It doesn't have a stretcher in the back. We've taken all the equipment that we needed off of it. Doesn't have any medical equipment on it at all. The ambulance is just, the chassis in the box. It does run. There is some issues with it, but it runs and moves. So they're requesting that we donate that ambulance to the Danville BCTC campus to use in their EMT, AMT, and paramedic classes that are coming up.
What's its value?
I don't have a good estimate on it. Probably the box is probably not worth as much as the engine and the transmission to an experienced person that could pull that out, because the engine and transmission is in good shape.
What year is it?
That's a good question. I'd have to look on that document.
In the letter, it says they're requesting 2 ambulances,
Well, I mean,
but we only have 1.
we have 2. I don't know that they would. I don't know.
Okay.
One that's good, right?
I would.
So
I don't know why they would need more than one.
Are you recommending that we do this?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. I think that probably the value of the ambulance is, I'd say probably less. I mean, brand new they're $250,000. This one has it's over 180,000 miles on it. The box,
Diesel or gas?
It's diesel.
Okay, and then it's not broke in yet.
Yeah, it's let me tell you what year it is. I have to find that document. I should have had that in my mind.
While you're looking, the reason I'm asking this question is we're strapped for funds on everything we've talked about today and so much more. I'll I'm a proponent of BCTC to the max, and we need to keep our kids home and have them go there and stay here with their careers. But I hope they'll understand, if we move forward on this, that it's an in-kind, very valuable vehicle that will help them know that, yes, we're wanting to cooperate, and they came in and asked for a very significant amount of money a few months ago, and I think in lieu of that, I can be very supportive based on your recommendation.
Yeah, it's a 2012, so we have the list that I gave Elena to go for surplus. We have a 2012 and a 2016 Chevy Express van. Both are, it's the Chevy ambulances. Again, we stripped all the medical equipment on it. The reason why I think the one would be better than the other is the one still has a traditional mounting stretcher in it compared to the power load that was in the new one will be harder for them to use, I think.
Are they going to actually put this on the road?
I don't know. I don't. They just need a place to be
Sure.
able to put students in the back and practice.
Acquaint them with
Right.
Well, it says that they want it for training at the Danville and Leestown campuses. So,
And see, I think it should stay in Boyle County.
We talked about it this morning in our committee meeting,
Yes.
that I think it would need to be in the.
it says it'll be used for PR events around the Lexington area to help promote the EMS program. So that, to me, says they're going to be taking it to Lexington.
Right.
I mean, back and forth, not
Right.
just
Right.
there, but back and forth.
Are they promoting the Boyle County program or the Lexington program?
Well, it doesn't say
Well, it
specifically
says
say.
it would have that it's donated by the Boyle County.
Yeah, it says it'll be
EMS.
donated by Boyle
So
County
people would
EMS
see
on
that.
it. They'll rewrap it
I mean,
and.
there's some value in that.
Yeah.
And see, I would not want it to be rewrapped when it's over there.
Oh, I would.
Liability.
Yeah, liability.
Well, from the standpoint of identification of Boyle County in some way, shape, or form, beyond just the paperwork.
Well, they're gonna have donated by Boyle County EMS put on the truck.
They will,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So they'll wrap it and they'll have a section that states donated by Boyle County EMS. Just in your opinion, in a sale, what would you expect, the shape that it's in?
If I was buying it,
age?
I don't think I would give more than $5,000 for it.
Whoa.
Well, that's not bad.
That Darlene's shaking her head, so.
Isabel, yeah.
Okay, that helps
So
me
I'll
a
make a
lot.
motion that we do this with one as recommended by Director Rogers.
Okay, I have a motion.
If we could include which one, that is the 2012,
DC3?
yep, 2012 Chevy.
I'll include that in the
EC3.
motion.
Chevy, okay.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Magistrate Gay to donate the 2012 Chevy EC3 diesel ambulance to BCTC to use as part of their EMS program. I have a second by Magistrate Bodner. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Judge. Is there urgency to doing this within the next 2 to 4 weeks?
No, I don't think so.
With what we know about, I turned to you last year and said, please go make that phone call.
Right.
Because there was one available out of state in the entire nation. I would respectfully submit that we ought to put this $5,000 vehicle out there for purchase from a community in Missouri, in California, in Spokane, Washington. Because I promise you, if it has a good engine and 180,000 miles on a diesel vehicle, and it's sound for the road to the point where we would trust that we would give it and it would be back and forth to Leestown, I just think it would be injudicious not to find out if it's worth 6 figures or 50,000 or 25,000 before we would, with all the constraints that we have on all of our budget items, every line item that we have. People like to rob from line item 1 to get to line item 2, another $300,000 to $400,000 to $4,000. So I would vote no to this when we come to a vote.
I respectfully consider that, Magistrate Ellis. However, they are doing an EMT training program out there for us.
understand.
As, you know, as part of our trying to draw
Yeah.
EMTs, you know, to Boyle County. And
Yes.
I think it would be a goodwill effort for us
Yeah, that's, I agree with
to
you.
donate.
The long-term benefit really.
Yeah.
is the-
I'd suspend the motion for 2 weeks minimum to try to find out if it has a very significant value to it.
Okay.
I just think we're ready. I just think this is a good opportunity to be a good partner with them and as they're working to develop this program and help us train for, keep people here.
I totally agree. And if the valuation comes in at $25,000 or $50,000, I think they'll all the more understand that I will be reluctant to reply to their request from months ago when they wanted hard dollars. And that's why I think that we ought to delay this for a couple of weeks and find out, and then when we send it to them, we can prove to them the urgency in 50 states of getting ambulances and that they truly are getting a monetary value of more than $5,000.
Could you find out that information in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah.
You could. So I don't have any problem with waiting.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second on the floor right now.
We
We
just
need to
have
vote
to-
on.
So,
Call the question.
yeah.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay.
Nay.
I hear one nay. Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, we come to magistrate comments and reports, and Magistrate Bodner, I'm going to start with you today.
Okay, first I'll give our EMS committee meeting report. We had a meeting today, and we did talk about the situation we just discussed, and so I won't go over that since we've covered it, but to mention, they have already had, BCTC's already had one class for the EMTs. They've got another one scheduled. Then they'll do an advanced EMT, and then they'll do a paramedic class. So we've got all kinds of classes coming up that this, and hopefully they'll take this really valuable resource and really add to it to make it a really good learning experience, so we have better prepared people when they come out to Mike and to the program. We'll have really well prepared people, and that's my thought with the vehicle. He had a busy month. June, he said 593 runs, and it seems to be staying at this number, so it's going to constantly be busy. Our little community is growing. He also looked at the driving policy, and they're revamping. We looked at a couple of the policies, and we looked at it, went over it, and had some suggestions on one of them. Just some things that make it more safe for the vehicles to be out on the road and safe for the patient and the drivers and our whole community. And so we did discuss that. He also we talked about the response models and how right now, you know, we have all the vehicles leaving from one area, and the thought of whether we should have a new site on Main Street. Could we get the governor to give us some land, or KSD to give us some land to put a new site there, or should we have, you know, smaller little response stations at different areas? So we discussed that, and one thing that did come out of it, yes, there's hot spots and good areas that could have placement of little small response areas, but also, no matter what, the place where they are now needs improvement. We went to that meeting, and he said since 2009, are we going to build the jail? Are we going to build EMS? But so they don't do anything. So this area, we've got to think of that in the future. Something has to be done just for functional reasons, and you bring people in there, and it definitely, when I went in there, I was really surprised. So I was like, oh. This doesn't look medical, you know, so we need to update that, whether they're going to move or not. We've got to do some functional updating, and I totally agree with them about that. And that's the meeting, meeting report. Now on to my area. Of course, you know, we spent a lot of time on the parks.
We need to take a vote on
Oh,
your
I'm
committee
sorry.
report.
Excuse
That's okay.
me. Yes.
You want to offer the motion for that?
Yes, I do.
For a second? All right. I have a motion and a second to approve or accept Magistrate Bodner's EMS Committee report. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Go ahead.
I jumped in there
That's
really
all right.
quickly, got excited. I have talked, of course, we heard a lot from Mark Morgan, but I did meet with Josh Morgan. He said the city's very interested in working with us on both things, the bike park and the Junction City Park. They mentioned some in-kind for Junction City if we get the grant. Julie, we still haven't heard anything from the grant. If and when we get the grant, they would definitely be interested in doing some in-kind, and they're definitely interested in doing some more programs, which you mentioned. That's a really big, I've spoken with Mayor Douglas, and we are all on the same page here. We want more programs, a better park, and I think we can all work together on this. And that, when he mentioned splash parks, I was like, oh, that's our dream of one day having a little splash park at Junction City, because that's such a great area. So anyway,
I think a splash park would be great over there. in that
it
facility.
would. I mean, that city is growing, and Josh Morgan agreed with me. You know, our future growth is going to come from that area and down in Perryville. The areas to grow have to be outside of the city of Danville. So we've got to be sure and include them in any of our, community plans. So, let's see. I did also talk to Josh about the landfill and the convenience center and the bike park there, and he's very excited about that. Just like Mark said, the Trail Alliance are excited about it. The city of Danville is excited about it. Kimba's excited about it. Everybody's excited about it, but it's going to be a slow process. And but I went out, I asked my husband to go with me, and we went over and we went through that area, and it is beautiful. It's over no landfill, it's been capped, but we could make that an awesome, and that really does, young people who have families look at the parks and the trails and the activities. I meant to mention while Maddie was here, if she's not going 90 miles an hour, then she's bored. So she played 8 hours of ball games, and she's a catcher. And then, there's nothing to do. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you just played 8 hours. So getting those young people, and the families are looking for that.
Yeah.
So all these things will help. I'll move on because we've already covered that. Let's see, Roger fixed a dangerous section on Cream Ridge that had like a 4-foot drop that a bus goes around every day during school, and he's put some rock on that, so that was a very scary drop there, so he worked on that yesterday, I believe. And I know this isn't a county, I just had a call from Nick Lester, but 300's got some problems, which I'm working with the state on that road. But it's got some levels, one piece that's fallen off and another that's dipping under. You can tell it's got a weak spot in it. So he called me back, but I didn't get to talk to him. J.P. Beard, who is with stormwater permitting, emailed me just today as I sit in here, so I'll have to see what he's saying. And so I don't know anything else about that. Let's see. With the animal control and all that, I'm a nurse and I'm a teacher, and when we find a problem, we take it apart and then we put it back together better, hopefully. And if we don't, we learn from that and we go on again. So I think with all that, we will do that. Let's see. And I like the idea of including the rescue people in with that process. So, Spectrum, so we don't have no update. That's no update. Several questions every month.
I will try to contact our person and see if he will come and give us an update.
And I know the CBV board was talking about the stone fences, and I thought that sounded like something I'd like to hear more about. But I need to contact them to see if they're interested in these parks and all the good business that they could bring in. But that's it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bowden.
Sorry, so long.
No, you're fine. Mr. Harmon?
I have nothing.
Okay. Mr. Gay?
Just quickly, the Environmental Services Committee met with the Conservation District last night, and I guess there'll be more coming on that. We had a good, successful meeting. The judge was there, Magistrate Sleeper, myself, met with pretty much, I guess,
Angie.
Angie, that's right, and it went well. So I think we've got an agreement that we need to kind of finalize and move forward with that. but it was very,
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good meeting.
And that
so they
agreement
had-
will come to you all probably in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, had a.
That's
had
what I was
good-
wondering.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, had a
What
good,
we end up with.
good meeting, and so I think we'll be ready to move ahead with that proposal, or recommend we move ahead with that proposal here soon. Other than that, I think that's all I have that's going on.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sleeper?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate my thanks to the people that presented today regarding the Animal Control Humane Society issue, and we are working diligently on that to come up with an agreement that, and to answer and hopefully to the challenges that have been brought to us, to help us understand them better and to put into place policies and practices that will improve the animal welfare of our communities. Also, I represented the Fiscal Court on our first EDA meeting of the year, and the Economic Development Authority, and Judge Bottom and was there, as well as Julia's support. And there was not a whole lot of business to take care of because being our first meeting, and we had to make introductions because of so many new members on that authority. And when I gave my introduction, I told them that I'm still trying to understand all the acronyms, and that's kind of a challenge for me, and that are involved in that. But also we need to review our bylaws, and so that's going to be taking place here now. So that's basically all that was really accomplished. And so,
Magistrate Sleeper, there's a major article on the front page of today's newspaper, and Magistrate Sleeper mentioned the bylaws. I believe it's to our good fortune that by some happenstance, those bylaws have never been signed.
Right.
Even if they were already signed, I would be saying what I'm about to say here. Magistrate Cullen and I sat in on many, many of the early developmental meetings. Prior to that, former judge and I sat with David Williams right there in this room for hours on end, 2 or 3 different times, with the appropriate vision for Danville, Boyle County economic development. Those of you who were not here 3.5, 4 years ago don't know just what the history was, but there's a preponderance of influence coming once again with the discussions that I believe took place the other day of emphasis from Danville as opposed to Danville, Boyle County 50-50 partnership. That's a real concern to me, and with the history of many of those EDA developmental meetings, until very fortunately Julie began coming, there were the suggestions that we'll get back to you with minutes, which would have confirmed my concerns that I'm expressing right now. And those minutes never came. Those minutes never were developed, which I believe is a breach, Counselor, of our open meetings situation, and that individual was volunteering to get those to us and never did. With that in mind, and even though informal discussions took place the other day, Friday, about who would be the officers, I'm going to petition with my strongest breath that our county judge be the secretary treasurer, so that we can have an eye on the overall emphasis of a 50-50 partnership, and the opportunity to have Julie, who did an extraordinary job in many of the latter meetings, of making sure that both parties understood in accepting the minutes henceforth what the discussions were all about, making it a true bona fide partnership. So I think there's a tremendous amount that needs to be done to make that happen, to make the city understand that it has to be that kind of a partnership, because we do not want to repeat the 15-year history of the EDP that had many pitfalls along the way. Thank you.
Thank you. A lot of what you have mentioned was discussed Friday, and I offered my position to be the Secretary Treasurer.
And I will be pushing hard for that.
And the bylaws, that's why we're redoing the bylaws, is because they were not ever signed. So there is going to be a complete review of the bylaws, and both sides then will have to agree.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah. So I think we covered most of that on Friday. Anything else, Magistrate?
That's it.
That's it. All right. Thank you. Magistrate Ellis?
Thank you, Judge. I attended, on behalf of the court, the first task force on annexation meeting. You may have heard me at our Judges and Magistrates Conference say, gee, would it be possible to have a magistrate be on that? And no, it's only going to be members of the Senate and the House in Frankfurt, and that's fine with me. We had a pre-meeting at KCO headquarters that was very enlightening on how we want to proceed slowly but firmly, hopefully never in contention with the 415 cities out there. But we already know that they are garnering their forces in hopes to lift the moratorium. I think we saw the value and integrity of the annexation moratorium in here a couple of weeks ago and a month ago in making sure that we meet the needs, A, of our constituents, B, of development, and C, of the statutes, because we cannot move forward with any motion from any city that we have without knowing the details and a firm plan, as our counselor was pointing out 2 weeks ago when we met, because anything could happen after our vote would take place, whether we agreed with it or not. So that simple process of voting is not so simple. We really have to have a comprehensive plan on surveys, on engineering, on utilities, on the impact of utilities going past a farm that's been in trust and then becomes an impediment to jumping over it to take in a couple of more streets and maybe 40 or 50 more homes. So I will be going monthly all the way through October. The next meeting, I believe, is July 21st when I'll be going, and I'll be keeping you informed as more details.
Or any of you all want to go, you're
please,
more than welcome
I've
to
got
go.
room
It's
in my
open
truck.
to everyone.
Yeah, I can take 3 more. Judge, you and I should talk, because there was the invitation in this meeting that if anyone wants to give input and a perspective from their county, well, I think we have a litmus test that took place 2 weeks ago that would show our concern to make, I won't make the same speech again, about all the details being in place before we take a vote, and that should be true in 2024, 25, and infinitum. Secondly, I've been to all the public hearings over in Mercer County on solar, and they are in a grave situation with over 300, maybe 400 citizens coming out to their public forums. And I've had lengthy conversations with Judge Steele, and her advice to us is work on your ordinance. I spent over 2 hours Friday and Saturday coming up with, Counselor, what I believe could be something that we could not be a preamble, but the summary statement to what we already have in place in our ordinance on solar, and perhaps have to tweak what's already in that 110, 12-page document. But I will share that with everybody after today's meeting. The judge and I talked this morning, and it was her recommendation that we go ahead and proceed with that. Of course, Counselor, I'd share it with you because I'm practicing law without a license. I'm very concerned about spectrum, because this has happened before where there was a 3 or 4 week hiatus between my requesting some information from Spectrum and getting it. I wrote back on June 22nd to Spectrum's lead gentleman, we've all met, and I've not heard back from him because I've been getting considerable, many, and I'm sure you have too, constituent. I'm at the end of the road and they're 100 yards from me. I'm coming into BCTC from their kind, different person. Because of their kindness, I'm coming into BCTC and using their computers and other things like that that are going on from people in remote areas. And this happens to be, I think, one of your constituents. She's out far enough that she has to come in to get a signal, and out of the kindness of their hearts at BCTC, they just let her go off in a room where it's not being used for school. We still have actually 3 issues on Neal Road where we have business concerns that must be remedied, and I've had wonderful conversations with Michaela over at Planning and Zoning, and she's going to attempt to find out the root of those issues and get back to me. But it too, using that term again, is a litmus test for what we might face in any one of our districts if we allow Joe or Mary or Sue or Bill to do something that's just at the edge, but quite frankly over the edge of what's allowable through planning and zoning, and then it burgeons, because I'm hearing from one constituent that he has over 45 trucks, and if he wants to let other people violate the law, then he might have meetings on Neal Road. Well, a truck and a bicycle can't pass on Neal Road, so we have got to be firm in what we implement for anything that's untoward that's going on. Please, on a positive note, and it's on the front page of today's newspaper, Turtle Derby is Saturday the 22nd, and it is wild, it is fun. You can come feed your family. There will be food trucks. There will be hundreds, if not thousands, of people out for that. And Judge, you and I will be jumping the turtles again this year, and somebody in this room could win a very significant prize. So we are not cut out from winning. I might put what peg in, but stone fences. Probably 20 plus years ago, Tennessee passed a rule on stone fences. I regret to say that in my district, there is a pile of stones that would be twice the volume of this room, and we all know where they came from. In my district alone, we have miles of stone fences that need preservation. I know you do too. Barry, you've got some. I know you have some, Steve. Perhaps even right at the edge of town. Yeah, you would too. But they are an economic development draw. When people come in 52, where apparently well over 22 years ago, when we moved here, the Stone Trust, the Conservancy, trained people in stone fences. They're absolutely magnificent. And that's a pristine, historic area with that new but old style stone fence. And mix that now with solar. As you well know from hearing from Magistrate Cullen, you'd be looking at that stone fence and you'd be facing the glare of solar right in behind it as you're coming from Maine or Georgia or Missouri or Florida or some other state, enjoying the pristine quality of our area. So we've got to commingle those issues. Reapportionment. Judge, with your experience, would it be difficult for us to get a list of all of our roads?
That should be
because I did some exploring. I'm stealing. But
Yes,
I found your beautiful Upper River. It's gorgeous back in there. And I think I am on the one side, you're on the other. Yeah.
No, the county clerk should be able to.
Good.
Yeah.
Could you make that request so that we'd all get that from them? Because I know I have several new ones and others will too. And last, I always want to compliment our public works crew. They've resolved that problem where one of my constituents lost an $1,800 mirror because a pothole was forcing people in the middle of a narrow road. and a person clipped his truck coming through. So for the record, our Public Works is doing a yoga's job. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ellis. All right, County Attorney comments.
Yes, just brief. So I've become aware of a lot of fraud over the internet going on, and I just wanted to warn you all, and maybe we could pass the word on to the elders in the community and so forth. But I learned of a situation where something pops up on your computer saying you have a virus. Call Microsoft. Someone called Microsoft and like, oh yeah, you're infected, and also you have your bank accounts have been infected too. Who do you bank with? Blah blah blah. Well, we need to call your bank. Get the bank on the line. Hey, this is the fraud department. Yeah, your bank account has been infiltrated. You need to come in here and withdraw X number of dollars, go buy some gift cards from Kroger, and then take a picture of it and send it back. So it was a situation that was very drawn out, 2 to 3 hour situation, and very believable. But the one part that's not believable is why would you have to get a gift card? How does a gift card resolve this issue? But it's happened to a lot of people. I mean, I've heard of that. So one thing,
prey on the elderly.
Prey on the elderly, but they can. But I found out. I mean, it happens to not just elderly. It can happen to anybody, and the people are very believable. So I would just warn the community that if anybody calls you and they ask you to go get a gift card and send them pictures of it, then that should set off a red flag that something's up. And if they want you to call your bank or whatever, no, just go into your bank and talk to the bank. I think that's the best policy. Instead of trying to conduct business, giving account numbers, other identification numbers and so forth over the phone. You just don't do that. And then another situation that yesterday I almost fell prey to, actually, was on Facebook. This person I know, they put, hey, I'm moving, and there's all these pictures of items that they have for sale, and message me, and we can, no offer will be, they'll consider any offer. And so I didn't need anything, but I know somebody that wanted some kayaks. So I just kind of tagged them in that, and so they contacted the person, and that person wanted them to, before they even had the items, to Venmo them so much money as a down payment. Luckily, I found out that it was a fraud, and I called these people and I'm like, hey, don't do that, because I would have felt horrible if they'd actually given that money. Well, anyway, they figured it out, which is great. But what had happened is somebody took over a person's Facebook account, to the point where you can't even get in it at all, to go change your password or whatever. They totally infiltrated that account. This person wasn't moving, and all these items that the pictures were taken of, they were just all fake and so forth. But a lot of people believed it. And I started writing on there, this is fake, and about 5 seconds later, I was not friends with that person anymore. They took me off, took my comments off. So it can happen to anyone. Don't be paying people by Venmo if you don't even have the product yet. I kind of like cash in hand transactions. I think that's the best way to ensure you're really going to get what you bargained for. And
at least contact the person before you do it and say, hey, is this legit? Yeah.
But and one big thing to do, use the 2-factor or whatever authentication. Don't just have your password. That's the easy way to do it. Yes, but the best way to do it is have the 2-factor authentication, where not only you have your password, but also they send you a text message and you have to confirm and this and that, through Facebook, because that way you can definitely combat against people breaking into your Facebook account and so forth. It seems like every morning I wake up and I look on my email and I've got a email from Microsoft about single-use code or whatever, where someone's tried to get into my Microsoft account, and here's my single-use code to type it in so that they could, I guess, maintain or get that access. And good thing I have that, because they would just be all up in my business. So we need to warn everybody, not just our elders, but young people. We just can't be too trusting anymore, especially over deals made on the internet. So I just wanted.
I would just real quick. Sorry, as somebody that's on a bank board and kind of on behalf of all banks, because I think this happens at every bank. Is if somebody calls you asking for your bank password, do not give them your bank password, because your bank. A lot of times they pretend like they're your bank, asking you for your password, so that they can, so the bank can do some business for you. The banks already know what your password is, so they will not call you and ask you for your password.
Yes, yesterday, a member of this court allegedly emailed me because he or she just knew that I'd want to see these pictures when we were together, and I've spoken with that member before. And there's always a link, and he said, whatever you do, do not open that link. And then about 2 years ago, 3 times in succession, I got home to my landline, and our high sheriff was coming after me for not paying a fine or taxes or something like that. And I mean, boy, it was hard-headed, and I haven't been arrested yet.
I was gonna say, actually, I've been the last 2 to 3 weeks have gotten 2 emails from Julie.
Yeah, me too.
One said, hey, I'm off to a meeting right now. Could you please get all the employee information for me and have it and send it to me? So, and luckily, you know, that was caught and everything, because I'm thinking, why does she need all that?
Yeah.
Then I realized.
She asked the question.
But yeah, I mean, I've had 2, and they were signed exactly the way she would normally sign hers.
Click on the
It was
email
exactly.
address, because like you click on that, then usually it's not Julie's email.
Right.
So that's a big thing you need to do before you respond to anybody. Like, oh, you've been locked out of your Amazon account or whatever. And then you click on it, and it doesn't even have Amazon at Amazon.com or whatever address. It's just something.
Good public
From the
service
United
announcement.
Kingdom
Thank you, Counselor.
Yes, thank you very much.
And I'm going to put that probably on my, I have a Facebook page as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like I needed to warn everyone.
Is it safe to share it?
It always
So, yes, I mean, I think we should share that information.
You do, and I will.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Going back to the stone fences that some of you all have mentioned, I sent you all this letter, or you all should have gotten a copy of this letter. What they are, this is from the CVB board. As you can see, all the board members have signed it. What they are asking for basically is to know if we will consider a request. And the request is, we are asking for the city and county to assist with identifying, cleaning up, and repairing our stone fences with assistance from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet where applicable. These fences can certainly enhance the visitor experience, but they also are important to the community as well. So right now, there's no monetary value attached. Right now, they're just wanting to know if we will consider the request, and they would like a reply by July 31st. I'm glad to do that as long as, you know, the court
Yeah, I think
agrees
we
that.
could think of ways to see if we can get groups at the high school, you know,
Yeah.
conservation groups to come and
There's
help
a
do
team
that.
project.
Okay.
There's projects we can do, you know, right now I don't see that we have enough information to even think
Right,
about
right.
monetary.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. Mr. Gay?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was involved back when Tom referenced the Dry Stone Conservancy group that did some work around the county, and that's definitely a great resource and somebody we need to utilize. One of the, it's one of those that's easier said than done, these type of projects, because you know, oftentimes, and all times, these fences are on private property.
Right.
And so, you know, you're kind of at the mercy of the private property owner being willing to
Let you do
conserve
anything.
their fence and their property. So that's a challenge, to get that property owner, because, obviously the big enemy of dry stone fences are vegetation, trees that push through them and destroy them, and so that's a real challenge. But yeah, I think any effort we can do to conserve and maintain, it is a beautiful part of our landscape and our county that makes it very unique, and so we definitely need to work to do that. So I'm all in favor of whatever we can do, realizing it's a lot of times easier said than done.
And it is a dying art. My husband says,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't, I mean, people don't even repair them much. So
Yeah.
it's,
Once they start falling, they just continue to fall.
continue.
Well, with your all support, then I will be glad to pen a response to the CDB board that we will consider the request.
And I'll
to
try
be
to
some
find
type
out
of
state
service.
law in Tennessee and see what they passed.
I think Commissioner Saris.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you don't mind, of course, we had the same letter. We
Uh-huh.
talked about it last night, City Commission. And the city manager has instructed Josh to start the process of cleaning up, not doing rock walls, but at least start the cleanup. I personally said I think the county's very interested too, and we should work together on that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you'll probably be hearing from Josh
Okay.
to your public works, but
All right.
we're going to work on it. And
All
some
right,
of it,
sounds good.
what Jamie mentioned is private property, but some is state right of way.
Yes.
And Earl says we're going to do it anyway,
Yeah.
especially down at the intersection that heads towards Junction, because it looks bad. So I just want you all to know.
Good to know. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Appreciate it. All right. Also want to bring your attention to the Millennium Park Back to School block party. Rashay Ford and his Don't Sleep program. There's going to be food, drinks, vendors, games, Saturday, July 29th, 2023. So if you all have the opportunity or time to go out and attend part of that, I've been there and it's a good time. It's from 12 to 9 that day. So we support this as well. This is part of our appropriation. So. Also, the road department is working on Pumpkin Run Road, putting in the new box culvert there. I don't know if you saw the pictures or not, but we had them posted yesterday. In addition to the Turtle Derby that Magistrate Ellis mentioned, I will be in the dunking booth at 12 noon on Saturday. So anybody that would like to come down and participate in your throwing skills and see if you can dunk me up.
What were those?
I agreed to a lot of things.
Now, is that the day it's going down to 68 degrees for them?
Yeah. 12 noon. I will be in the dunking booth.
Oh, man.
Also,
The key is you want to be in the dunking booth first.
yes, that's exactly right. I said I want to be first. Okay, also Doc Dog, Kentucky Doc Dogs is going on that same weekend. It will be out to the showroom, so there'll be lots of activity out there, food and activity as well. So be sure you can go out there and see those dogs. They're pretty amazing what they can do and how far they can jump. Okay, I believe that's all that I had.
You may have an announcement today.
I may have an announcement today. My daughter-in-law and my son are at the hospital now awaiting the birth of their first child. So I have been anxiously watching my phone while we've been in here because he's supposed to text me a little in advance in time for me to get there.
The
So
second he gets down.
yeah, right. Yeah, so all prayers and thoughts for them as they experience a miracle today. And that's all I have as well. So
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second. Okay, we have a motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Bodner to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Thank you. Appreciate it. We're adjourned.
All right.
Keep us
Call
posted.
Nick.